Lonely receptionist discovers incredible love after 5 years. An unexpected CEO date reveals hidden desires. In the small suburb of Maplewood, where the air hummed with the sound of crickets and neighbors exchanged pleasantries, Sarah sat behind her desk at a tiny tech startup. At 30, her life had been reduced to a series of phone calls and cheerful greetings that masked the loneliness pressing against her heart. 5 years ago, a breakup shattered her confidence, leaving her weary and stuck. Each day, she poured her energy into her work, acting as the reliable backbone of the company, her warm smile a facade that concealed her longing for companionship. Then, one fateful afternoon, a storm broke the silence. Dark clouds rolled in, and the electricity flickered off, plunging the office into dim emergency light. In the chaos, Sarah did what she always did: kept everything running smoothly. But with the lights gone, so was her solitary routine. The hum of printers stopped, laughter echoed nervously, and uncertainty buzzed in the air. It was in this moment of crisis that James, the company's elusive CEO, arrived. He exuded the kind of poise that made him seem untouchable, his polished suit and affluence starkly contrasted with her grounded, simple life. As they huddled together, sharing a flickering flashlight, their conversation opened doorways. "You know, I once wanted to be an artist," James admitted, a hint of vulnerability breaking through his aloof exterior. This confession caught Sarah off guard, instantly bridging the gap between them. With laughter punctuating their shared solitude, walls crumbled around both of them, revealing two souls yearning for connection, both trapped in their own different kinds of loneliness. The flickering emergency lights danced in shadows, and for the first time in years, hope blossomed in Sarah's chest. She learned of his struggles, the weight of his family's expectations, and realized they were both tethered by their own insecurities. Just like that, an electric spark ignited between them, a glimmer of understanding and connection that felt like a dream she had long forgotten. But when the storm subsided and the lights flickered back on, reality crashed in. Whispers swirled around the office. Why would James be interested in her? Co-workers mused, their voices edged with sharp judgments. They questioned her right to happiness with someone like him, planting seeds of doubt in her heart. Sarah ached at their whispers, feeling the weight of their sneers. Could she truly belong in James's world? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With her heart pounding, Sarah stood at a crossroads. Should she retreat into her shell, forever hiding her joy behind layers of doubt, or would she confront her coworkers and share the happiness she had discovered? With each passing day, the tension in her chest grew heavier. She felt a burgeoning strength within her, like a simmering fire, desperate for space to ignite. As she prepared for the upcoming company meeting, Sarah knew it was now or never. She had to address the insecurities, the judgments, and the whispers that threatened to overshadow the love blossoming between her and James. The air was thick with anticipation as the day approached. Would she speak her truth and embrace the beautiful risk of love, or would she let fear hold her back, snuffing out the light that had unexpectedly filled her heart? The stakes were high, and uncertainty clenched in her chest, leaving her on the edge of a captivating journey that awaited just beyond the door. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow through the office windows, Sarah gathered her courage. She had spent countless nights replaying the moments shared with James, the laughter, the honesty, the way the air seemed charged between them. Now, as she stared at her reflection in the glass, she saw a flicker of determination. Her heart thudded loudly, reminding her of the stakes. The meeting room buzzed with energy as coworkers filed in, their usual banter echoing around her like a sea of chaos. Sarah's palms felt clammy, her heart raced, but she held her head high. Each nod and smile she received from colleagues was tinged with curiosity and skepticism. She could feel their eyes on her, scrutinizing. They were waiting. waiting for her to stumble, for her truth to crack under their judgment. James arrived, his presence sparking an energy that shifted the dynamic in the room. His confident stride and warm smile directed toward her sent a wave of reassurance crashing through her doubts. They exchanged a glance, hers filled with apprehension, his with support. It was as if time stood still amidst the chatter. "Thank you all for coming," James began, unrolling a presentation that veered away from the usual business updates. Today was different. It felt like the full moon had risen to light their darkest truths. "I want to talk about something that really matters to me, something beyond profits and projections." Sarah watched his confidence transform the room. The whispers faded, shifting to an air of respect. He spoke of connection, of loyalty, of breaking barriers, and just like that, the office began to ripple with collective understanding. Sarah realized this wasn't just about business for him, this was about engagement, about creating an environment where everyone felt they belonged, and she could hardly believe he was drawing her strength into it. As he spoke, the words ignited Sarah's own fire within. She knew he was setting the stage for her. He was handing her the opportunity to make her own stand, to speak her truth. She took a deep breath, letting the air fuel her resolve. This was the moment she had been preparing for, and there was no turning back. When he turned to her, inviting her to share her thoughts, she felt the room's energy shift once more. The weight of the invisible chains she had felt for so long began to dissolve. "I appreciate everything you said, James," she started, her voice steady despite the racing of her heart. "I think we've all faced challenges that make us question our place here. I can relate to that." The murmurs around the room softened as she continued, her voice gaining strength. "I know that sometimes it feels like our dreams don't have a place in our current roles, or that we are too small for the big world out there. But I'm here to say that we can support each other. We can celebrate our differences and lift each other up." She locked eyes with James, who nodded his encouragement, and for the first time, one of the doubting colleagues looked impressed. Sarah felt the tension in the air shift. It seemed everyone was holding their breath as she forged ahead. Loving someone shouldn't be something we're ashamed of, nor should it elevate or diminish our worth. It's about finding joy in connections. The applause that erupted was unexpected but massively appreciated. That moment felt like freedom, a breakthrough. The whispers would come later, but today marked a shift of bravery reborn. As she made her way back to her seat, emotions washed over her: hope, gratitude, and an undeniable sense of liberation. But as she glanced over at James, something flickered in his eyes that worried her, like a shadow crossing the sunshine. Was this newfound connection strong enough to withstand the fallout? What did she do now, with all of this unfolding emotion? An unexpected call from a distant friend echoed in her mind, urging her to confront the past. Could embracing her love for James mean letting go of pieces of who she was before? The question lingered in the air, heavy and exciting, as the meeting wrapped up. The stakes had changed, both for her and for James. Every heartbeat echoed the uncertainty of what lay ahead. With love on one side and fear on the other, she wondered which path she would ultimately choose. As the meeting dispersed, Sarah's mind swirled with a cacophony of thoughts. Applause faded away, leaving the remnants of adrenaline coursing through her veins. She had spoken her truth, but now the weight of what that meant sat heavy on her chest. "Are you okay?" James approached, concern etched on his face. There was gentleness in his green eyes that always managed to calm her racing heart. "It was overwhelming," she admitted, her voice trembling ever so slightly. "But I think it was needed." James took a step closer, the bustle of the office falling away until it was just the two of them. "You were incredible out there, Sarah. Truly. I'm proud of you." He paused, a breath escaping as he searched her gaze. "But I could see something was bothering you. What's on your mind?" His concern felt like a lifeline, yet it also made her heart race anew. She realized how vital this moment was. I wonder what comes next," she confessed. "What does it mean for us?" "For me. James hesitated, his expression shifting as if he were wrestling with his thoughts. I believe it means we can start being more authentic with each other. This connection feels strong, but there are realities we can't ignore. Her heart sank for a heartbeat. Was he suggesting they shouldn't pursue this connection? But before she could voice her fears, he continued. I know the risk, he said, lowering his voice. Navigating this isn't easy. But I want to explore what we can be together. You join me in this fight. But it's a fight against more than just office politics. His words felt like an invitation and a warning. Sarah swallowed hard, determination wrestled with doubt. I need to confront my past before I can jump into this. I don't want to bring old baggage into our new connection. Then let us confront it. Together, he replied, earnestness threading through his voice. I'm here for you, always. Always. The weight of his promise hung between them, igniting a spark of hope in her chest. Could it really be that simple? Absolutely, he assured, leaning slightly closer, his sincerity palpable. But we have to talk openly and honestly. No secrets. Can you do that? Sarah nodded slowly, her heart swelling. This felt like a new dawn, filled with bright possibilities. In that moment, a distant memory brushed the edges of her mind, a time when she had embraced the unknown with courage. She realized now that confronting her past didn't mean retreating. It meant stepping forward, hand in hand with James.'s thoughts of what she needed to deal with flooded her mind, her hesitations, her fears, the fragments of her past. She felt a rush of clarity mixed with exhilaration. The office, bustling with energy, faded into a backdrop. She had a journey ahead, one that wasn't just about success but also about love, vulnerability, and coming to terms with who she wanted to be. James, she began, her voice steadying with each syllable, I think I'm ready to meet the past. I want to face it with you. His smile was warm and bright, cutting through her doubts. But just then, a sudden loud disagreement broke through the office ambience. A colleague raised their voice, heated and distressed over a project. The tension punctured the moment, and Sarah's heart sank again, realizing the world of chaos she'd previously had to endure was still very much alive. How could she balance the tough conversations of her past with the noise of their everyday lives? Let us tackle that too, okay? James nodded toward the uproar. One step at a time. As she looked into his eyes, resolute and kind, a question filled the air. Could she truly face the complexities of her life while nurturing this budding love? The journey ahead felt daunting, yet thrilling, ripe with the potential of transformation and connection. Still, the nagging uncertainty echoed in the recesses of her mind. Did she possess the strength to leave the past behind and embrace what blossomed between them? With the office swirling back to its routine, Sarah took a deep breath, feeling hope wrestle with fear. Was she really ready to embrace whatever lay ahead, or was she still tethered to what had once been? In that charged moment, filled with possibility and doubt, she vowed to find out. The murmur of the office resumed, pulling Sarah back to the present. She could hear snippets of heated conversations mixed with the distant sound of a printer churning out papers. The vibrant atmosphere of the workplace was refreshing, yet it felt worlds away from the intensity of the moment she had just shared with James. Let us talk later, she suggested, feeling both anxious and eager. James nodded, respect and understanding reflected in his gaze, giving her the strength to tackle this day head on. As the afternoon dragged on, Sarah's mind kept flickering back to their conversation. She could almost feel James's presence beside her, a steady anchor among the storm. Her thoughts drifted between the excitement of what they might build together and the daunting shadows of her past. Could she truly confront the pain she had carried for so long? Around 5 o'clock, she decided to take a short break. She walked to the coffee station, needing a moment to gather her thoughts. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled her senses, but it was a bittersweet scent, reminding her of late nights spent alone, the weight of her solitude cloaked in caffeine. Hey there, Sarah. A colleague cheerfully called out, pulling her from her reverie. It was Melissa, a bubbly presence who always seemed to find moments of joy in the office chaos. "You okay? You seem pensive." "I'm good," Sarah replied, forcing a smile, trying to mirror Melissa's vibrant energy. "Just a lot on my mind." A brief silence passed between them as Melissa studied Sarah's face. "You know, sometimes you just have to let it all go and embrace the unknown. It's liberating." Her words struck a chord, igniting something within Sarah. Could she find that liberation? Could she really let go of her past? It was a gamble, and the stakes felt higher than ever. As she poured herself a cup of coffee, she overheard other coworkers discussing a weekend retreat to a nearby lake. The chatter brought a flicker of warmth to her heart. "We should all go," someone suggested, enthusiasm bubbling over like the coffee in her cup. "Count me in," Melissa chirped, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Sarah hesitated. The thought of spending a weekend away felt both inviting and terrifying. What if her past crept into her fun? But then she remembered James's resolve to be with her every step of the way. Why not? She whispered aloud, making her choice. "I'll go." Later that evening, as Sarah prepared to leave the office, she spotted James by the exit, a hopeful glint in his eyes. "Did you think about our talk?" he asked, a touch of eagerness in his tone. "I want to face my past, but I'm also considering the retreat this weekend." The words tumbled out, tinged with uncertainty. James's smile widened, relief washing over his features. "That sounds perfect. A new place could help. Let us explore this time together, right?" Her heart quickened at the idea of an adventure with him, a chance to foster something beautiful amidst the chaos that had shadowed her for too long. Yet apprehension gnawed at her. Would her past allow her the freedom to embrace love and vulnerability? Just as they stepped into the evening air, the sounds of the bustling office faded. Instead, the city breathed around them, alive with possibility. And as they walked side by side, Sarah's heart felt light for the first time in ages. "What if I stumble?" she asked, a twinge of fear creeping back in. "Then we'll fall together," James replied softly, his gaze unwavering and filled with promise. In that moment, she felt a shift past fears battling against new hopes. Could their connection truly conquer what loomed behind her? As they moved forward, hand in hand, the future seemed both exhilarating and terrifying. A small voice whispered from within, "Are you ready for what lies ahead?" And Sarah took a deep breath, sensing that pitting the past against the future could bring unexpected transformations. What awaited them on that retreat remained unknown, shrouded in mystery. But deep down, she felt the pull of adventure, a chance to mold her story anew, with the weight of uncertainty still heavy on her heart. One question echoed louder than the rest: would she find love, or would she find herself lost in a world of memories that threatened to drown her? The sun cast a warm golden hue across the lake as Sarah and her co-workers arrived for the retreat. Birds chirped happily above them, and the water shimmered like diamonds under the sun. For a moment, everything felt perfect, a tableau of hope. Yet beneath the surface, a storm brewed within her. James walked beside her, the ease of his presence grounding her as they strolled past the small cabins that lined the shore. "Isn't this place amazing?" he asked, his voice bright with enthusiasm. "Yeah," Sarah replied, trying to hide her nervousness behind a smile. She could feel the weight of the retreat pressing down on her. This was a chance to disconnect, to bond with her colleagues, and perhaps most importantly, to be vulnerable with James. But what if her past decided to rear its head? As they stepped into the main lodge, laughter filled the air, wrapping around Sarah like a warm blanket. Colleagues greeted one another, the excitement palpable. It was easy to forget her worries in a sea of friendly faces. She spotted Melissa, who waved frantically, signaling for them to join a circle of chairs near the fireplace. "Come on. We're about to start some team-building exercises." Melissa beamed, her enthusiasm infectious. With James at her side, Sarah felt the tiniest flicker of hope dodge her hesitations. Could they really let their guards down this weekend? She took a deep breath and joined the group. The activities began light-heartedly fun games meant to break the ice. They shared silly stories and laughed until their stomachs hurt. For a moment, Sarah found herself lost in the joy around her, forgetting the shadows that clung to her from the past. But soon enough, the facilitator announced a serious exercise about vulnerability and sharing personal stories. Choose someone in the group to share something you've never told anyone. The call echoed in the main lodge, and Sarah's stomach twisted, nervous laughter rippled through the attendees, and Sarah could feel her heart racing. What would she say? She glanced at James, who offered her an encouraging nod, an anchor amidst her fear. As people shared their struggles and triumphs, Sarah felt drawn in. Each story shed a layer of isolation, as if they were creating a safe space to breathe. Then it was her turn. Suddenly, the room felt silent. Fingers trembling, she took a step forward, her throat dry. I've struggled a lot with loneliness. I thought I had everything figured out, but sometimes the weight of my past feels too heavy. The room fell completely still, and for a moment, time seemed to freeze. She swallowed, her heart racing, but she pressed on. I used to think solitude meant strength, but I've learned it can also mean isolation. The understanding gazes that met her made her chest tighten, both from fear and relief. She could see the resonance of her words in others, the universal longing for connection lining every face. When she finished speaking, the silence felt heavy, but it shifted as a round of supportive applause erupted in the room. It was more than just encouragement, it was acknowledgement, the kind of validating spark that suddenly made her feel less alone. James stepped up next, a smile on his face but a seriousness in his voice. That's beautiful, Sarah. Vulnerability is what builds trust, and I believe we can all relate to wanting more connection, especially when we feel lost. The emotional weight of his words struck her, evoking a torrent of feelings within. She felt seen in ways she had never imagined. After the session, Sarah found herself drawn to James, their connection feeling fortified. Thanks for being here with me, she said quietly, her heart racing at the vulnerability they'd shared. Always, he replied, his gaze steady, mirroring a promise she desperately wanted to believe. As night fell, the group gathered around a bonfire, laughter and warmth wrapping them all in a blanket of camaraderie. Sarah nestled against James, feeling a flutter of hope bubble to the surface. Maybe she could do this. Maybe she could open herself up again, conquer her past, and dare to embrace the beauty of the present. But deep down, she still felt the shadows lingering just at the edge of her heart, ready to pull her back into solitude. When would she truly be free? As the flames flickered brightly, illuminating the faces around her, Sarah realized she had ignited more than just friendship, she was challenging her fears. What if she dared to reach out even further, risking everything for love? In that moment, amidst the laughter, a whisper danced in her mind. Would this weekend finally help her discover the person she had buried deep within? The answer loomed over her like a shadow, waiting to unfold. What would it truly take for Sarah to step into the light? The flickering flames cast a dance of shadows on the logs beneath them, each burst of heat sending a waft of smoky sweetness into the night air. Sarah leaned into James, her heart pounding in time with the crackling fire, each ember rising like her hopes. Surrounded by the laughter of her colleagues, she could feel the growing warmth not just from the fire but from a sense of community weaving around them. "Isn't this just perfect?" she murmured, her words barely piercing the cheerful chatter around them. James shifted slightly, his presence a comforting weight against her. "It really is. I feel like we're all getting so much closer." He paused, scanning the faces illuminated in the firelight. "Tonight might be the moment we all realize how much we've been through together." His gaze, steady and sincere, sent tingles through her. The moment felt pivotal, a crossroads between what she had always known and what lay ahead. But doubt crept back in, whispering its insidious questions. What if she let others in, only to be hurt again? Hadn't that been her story for so long? As laughter rang out, Sarah's attention drifted to Melissa, who stood with a small group nearby, animated and telling a story about an embarrassing moment from last year's retreat. The laughter erupted around her, a joyous sound that made Sarah's heart swell with longing. "Why not share a funny story?" James suggested, nudging her shoulder gently. His eyes sparkled with sincerity, urging her to open up. It could lighten our spirits. The idea terrified her. What if her story fell flat? What if they didn't connect? But something deeper pushed her forward. "Okay, I'll try," she breathed, mostly to herself. "Hey everyone!" she called, her voice a little louder than she intended. Heads turned, and the laughter softened. "I have a story." The night air stilled as curiosity flowed toward her, a captivating hush that seemed to fall over the group. "Back in college, I thought I was ordering a soft drink at a diner. But I didn't get a soda. I got a dish of plain mashed potatoes instead." She laughed, remembering the moment. "I ended up carrying that little bowl of potatoes around the diner in search of my friends like it was a prize." Laughter erupted, their faces lighting up with shared amusement. In that moment, Sarah felt a rush of acceptance, joining them in smiles and chuckles she hadn't known she craved until now. As she shared details, the confused waitress, her friends' reactions, even the way she tried to convince everyone it was gourmet mashed potatoes, the nervous tension eased from her shoulders. It felt as if each laugh pulled her closer to those around the fire. For the first time, she was experiencing something she had only glimpsed before, the pure thrill of connection. "Best dinner ever." James chimed in, his voice playful, and Sarah caught his eye, sharing a smile that felt electric, but as the laughter faded, Sarah caught sight of the darkening sky above, stars twinkling like unvisited dreams. The earlier doubts resurfaced, wrapping her in uncertainty. The distance to truly open up felt immense, but maybe that's what this weekend was about, learning to not just touch the surface, but to dive deep. "Can I share something too?" she pressed suddenly, heart racing again. About those mashed potatoes?" The laughter faded, replaced by attentive gazes. "It symbolizes how sometimes we think we know what we want, but life surprises us instead, sometimes in the most unexpected ways." The words she shared hung in the air, tinged with a truth she hadn't expected to voice. Sarah felt liberated, as if she had just stepped out of a cocoon and was tasting the warm night air for the first time. "Wow, it's amazing how something so funny can make you reflect so deeply," Melissa said softly, her eyes sparkling like the stars above. And for the first time, Sarah didn't feel alone in that reflection. James turned to her, some understanding passing between them. Yet, beneath the warmth of the firelight, doubt still flickered. What if this connection wasn't enough? As the night wore on, she considered what lay ahead. Vulnerability was scary, but it was also freeing. Would she really take that leap? Would she be brave enough to pursue whatever was blossoming between her and James? Just then, a new voice cut through her thoughts. "Let's do a campfire circle. Each of us shares one goal for the weekend." Sarah felt her heart race anew. What if she shared her desire to truly connect with her coworkers, with James, and perhaps, with herself? The pit in her stomach tightened. Could she be that bold? The challenge hung in the air, the flickering fire mirroring her mixed emotions. This weekend might change everything, but was she ready to embrace that? She took a deep breath, ready to dive deeper. As the bright flames cast their light on the faces around her, Sarah swallowed hard. She could feel the pressure building in her chest, a blend of fear and excitement swirling together. The circle felt intimate, the energy palpable. One by one, her colleagues began to speak. David went first, sharing his goal of taking a spontaneous trip to the mountains this summer, seeking adventure outside his comfort zone. The others rallied around him, offering suggestions and excitement. Next was Melissa, who confessed how she wanted to build a stronger relationship with her sister, someone she felt distanced from after years apart. Soft murmurs and encouraging nods filled the air, a testament to their shared understanding. Sarah shifted, glancing at James. He gave her an encouraging nod, his eyes warm and inviting. A flicker of confidence slashed through her fear. Maybe she could reveal her ambition, her budding connection to the group, and her deepening feelings for him. As each voice blended into the others, Sarah took in a deep breath. "Okay," she started hesitantly, "I guess I'll go next." Her heart raced wildly as the eyes turned toward her, a sea of attentiveness and concern. Everything felt amplified in that moment, the warmth of the fire, the cool breeze kissing her skin, and the thumping of her heart in her ears. "I want to connect with all of you this weekend." "Really connect," she said, the words tumbling out almost like a confession. "I've held back for so long. I've been feeling lost lately, unsure of my place." The vulnerability of her admission hung in the air. Each word felt like a small wave crashing on a distant shore, retreating but leaving a mark. James's expression shifted, an understanding reflected in his eyes. The fire crackled, and her colleagues exchanged glances, a quiet solidarity forming in the circle. "And I guess I also want to explore this connection with someone special," she added, her voice trembling slightly, unsure if she could fully reveal the depth of what she felt. Her gaze flitted toward James, catching the surprise on his face wrapped in warmth. "I want to be brave this weekend and take risks because that's what life is about, right?" A collective sigh escaped, a mixture of relief and respect flooding the space. Melissa broke the silence. "We're here for you, Sarah. You can do this." The comforting response filled her with a newfound courage. It was as if her honesty had unlocked something in the group, an unspoken agreement to push each other forward, to dive into unknown waters together. "Does anyone else want to share?" Sarah asked, catching her breath. Cueing to the next person, she leaned back slightly, feeling lighter as hopes shifted throughout the circle. Stories became vivid, filled with aspirations merging with laughter and the occasional nervous chuckle, but the night took a turn when the wind picked up, sending a chill racing across the gathering. The fire flickered wildly, mirroring a sudden sense of anxiety threading through Sarah. What had she just committed to? Was it enough to simply want to connect? And then, just after the moment of vulnerability, a shadow stirred at the edge of the campfire's glow. A silhouette approached, breaking the magic of the moment. Someone was standing just outside their circle, someone she recognized. Sarah's heart dropped as her thoughts tangled. How could he be here? In that instant, everything seemed to freeze. Would this unexpected encounter change the course of her feelings? Would the connection she hoped to build be tested before it even truly began? The night was not done revealing its secrets. As the figure stepped closer, the glow of the fire illuminated the features that had once been so familiar to Sarah. It was Alex, her ex-boyfriend. A wave of shock coursed through her, and the encouraging energy of the circle seemed to dissipate like smoke in the wind. "What are you doing here?" Sarah's voice was barely above a whisper, surprise and confusion tightening around her heart. Alex raised his hands, palms out, as if to assure her he meant no harm. "I was passing through, and I saw the fire. I didn't expect to find you here." His tone was soft, almost hesitant. "Great," Sarah muttered under her breath, frustration mingling with disbelief. Memories of their breakup flooded back, those late-night arguments, the bitter taste of unfulfilled promises. The warmth of the circle felt distant now as a chill crept into her bones. David, sensing the tension, spoke up. "Hey, I think we were just sharing our dreams for the weekend. You should join us." His voice was hopeful, but Sarah could hear the underlying concern. Alex hesitated, glancing at Sarah. "I don't want to interrupt. It's good to see you, Sarah." She felt the weight of his words. Part of her ached for the familiarity they had once shared, but another part stronger reminded her of the reasons they had parted ways. Her heart battled against itself, confusion mixing with the vulnerability she had just bravely displayed. "Actually, this is a safe space," Melissa chimed in gently, her eyes darting between Sarah and Alex. "It might be good for everyone if we invite him to share, right?" The group looked at Sarah, waiting, and she could feel the pressure building again, this time from the anxiety of their scrutiny. She didn't want to appear weak, especially now, after she had just bared her soul. But Alex's presence stirred things inside her that she thought she'd closed off. "All right," she finally said, her voice steadier than she felt. But you have to be honest with us, Alex. No hiding. A small smile cracked on his face. That's fair enough. I was actually hoping to talk, he said, stepping fully into the flickering light. Seeing you all here made me realize how much I've missed this. I've missed you. Sarah caught herself holding her breath. Would he truly open up? Would he acknowledge where things fell apart? Her colleagues looked intrigued, leaning in as Alex began to speak. As he shared his own dreams for the future and touched on his regrets, the light of the fire flickered around them, but Sarah felt darker clouds rolling in. What if he was only interested in rekindling old flames? She didn't know if she could withstand that kind of heartache again, not after daring to hope for something new. The conversation around the fire began to flow again, but Sarah's focus remained on Alex. Just then, James leaned closer to her, an unspoken question in his gaze. The way he looked at her seemed to spark something deeper. Maybe he was the connection she truly desired, the one who could understand her unfiltered feelings. But how could she pursue that while Alex was here, in front of her? As an uncomfortable silence swept through the group, the night's vulnerability felt more fragile than ever. Questions spiraled in her mind. Could she open herself to love again, with past shadows looming above? Was it time to take another risk, or would she be trapped in the past? The fire crackled, illuminating the tangled web of emotions all around, and Sarah knew this moment was just the beginning of something far more complex than she could have ever anticipated. What decision would she make when her heart was pulled in two directions? The flames danced wildly as Alex's voice faded into the night, but Sarah barely heard him. Instead, her thoughts turned inward, grasping for clarity amidst the rising tension in her chest. Her heart thumped painfully, the ache of unresolved feelings flooding back with every flicker of the firelight. James had been trying to catch her attention, leaning closer, his presence warm and calming. She caught his eye, and it held an openness that felt like a breath of fresh air. Maybe it was the way he looked at her, as if she were the only one that mattered in that moment. But could she let herself bask in that light while shadows from her past loomed so large? Sarah. David's voice broke into her thoughts, pulling her back into the circle. Are you okay? He looked genuinely concerned, and the caring expressions of the others mirrored his. It made her feel exposed, yet oddly supported. Yeah, just processing, she replied, forcing a smile. It just feels a little overwhelming. She gestured lightly toward Alex, who was now conversing more freely, laughing with some members of the circle. The warmth he radiated seemed to feel like a burden on her soul, pulling her back to their history together. Melissa, catching her eye, offered a reassuring nod. You don't have to engage if you don't want to. It's your choice. Sarah appreciated that, yet she felt the weight of her decision pressing down on her. If she stepped away from the group now, was she running from clarity or accepting boundaries? What if Alex professed more feelings? Would that throw her into a tailspin? Can I share something? Alex called, breaking through her turbulent thoughts. It's been a while since I've put my dreams out there. I think it's important for me to get this off my chest. The circle grew quiet, the crackling fire becoming the only sound. Sarah's heart raced again. Maybe he would reveal something that would help her find closure. As he spoke, detailing dreams of travel, personal growth, and his desire for connection, something inside Sarah began to shift. She recognized the honesty in his words. Could he truly be striving for transformation? Or was this merely a way to grasp at the past? She glanced back at James, who was watching her closely. His gaze was steady, inviting. The conflict twisted inside her like a vine struggling to free itself from its own knots. Could she trust herself to explore that connection, or did she owe it to herself to confront the past first? Do you think we can all grow? Alex's voice broke her reverie. Aren't we all just trying to find our way? The question lingered in the cool night air, echoing inside Sarah. It was profound, yet it rung with a complexity that scared her as much as it intrigued her. Where would she stand if she embraced growth, if she accepted the possibility of coupling again, even in the face of her history? The silence stretched, almost palpable, and everyone turned to her, awaiting her response, sensing she held the key to the next move in this intricate dance. Holding her breath, Sarah faced a disorienting choice. She could plunge into a deep conversation with Alex, hashing out their past, or step toward James, discovering something wholly new. In grappling with her tangled feelings, she felt both fear and hope battling for dominance within her. What path would she take? As warmth from the fire flickered around her, she realized that every decision could lead to healing or more chaos. Before she could speak, the wind shifted, carrying whispered secrets across the dark, signaling a shift in her journey ahead. Would this be the night she reclaimed her past and opened herself to a potential future? Sarah felt the weight of expectation resting on her shoulders as the voices around the fire quieted in anticipation. Her heart raced, a mix of emotions swirling within her: fear, hope, confusion, all vying for attention. Every inch of her felt alive, pulsing with tension as she realized this was the moment to either confront her past or embrace the new path illuminated by James's presence. Looking into Alex's eyes, she sensed vulnerability beneath the bravado. They had shared laughter, dreams, and heartbreak, and now, standing before her during this poignant retreat, he seemed different. There was a sincerity about him that stirred old memories, but the difference in Sarah's heart was palpable. She had changed. No longer trapped in shadows of loneliness, she was ready to find clarity. Growth means facing our past, but it also means stepping forward, Sarah began, her voice steady. Alex, I appreciate where you're coming from, but I've realized I can't keep holding on to old wounds. I've been hurt and lost, and I need to prioritize my happiness, and that includes discovering new connections. The fire crackled in response, illuminating the faces that surrounded her, their expressions a blend of support and understanding. A calming energy radiated from James, his gaze unyielding and warm. Yes. Melissa chimed in, her enthusiasm infectious. We all deserve to find what makes us happy. Taking a deep breath, Sarah turned to James, her true compass in this moment. I've felt something real with you, something different. It's scary to embrace, but you showed me that love isn't something to fear. Emotion exploded within her as she voiced the connection she had yearned to acknowledge. Not just the love she felt for him, but the love she needed to foster for herself. A chuckle broke the tension as David remarked, love indeed sounds like a starry night adventure. The warmth in the air turned lighter, eliciting gentle laughter, yet Sarah knew the seriousness still loomed beneath. James stepped closer, his hand lightly touching her arm. I want to explore this together, Sarah. But we have to be open with each other about everything past, present, and the possibilities ahead. His sincerity wrapped around her, anchoring her against the whirlwind of emotions raging inside. Together, she echoed back, the word feeling both like a promise and an invitation. The sincerity in the circle promised growth, each member bolstering one another's hopes. Alex held her gaze, concern etching his features. I'm glad you found a way forward, Sarah. I want that for you, really. But I also hope you'll allow me to be part of your story. The emotional intensity shifted the atmosphere, making it feel like an emotional tapestry woven from vulnerability and moments shared. If you want to support each other, we have to be honest. I can't let the past dictate my future any longer, Sarah said, determination resonating in her words. Slowly, Alex nodded, a flicker of understanding igniting in his expression. I know we shared something special, but you deserve to explore happiness whether it's with me or someone else. The honest admission carried a weight that felt freeing. It was an act of release on both sides. I appreciate that, Sarah replied, her voice unwavering and full of gratitude. Let us move forward with truth. Let us find our own paths. With a collective sigh, the tension dissipated, replaced by a shared sense of liberation. The crackling fire danced brightly, illuminating their journey ahead, a journey where risks were taken, hearts were opened, and connections were celebrated. As the night matured, laughter resumed. Stories flowed, not just about past struggles but about dreams for the future. In that sacred moment, Sarah felt the shadows finally retreat, replaced by glimmers of hope and warmth. As the clock ticked toward midnight, something inside Sarah shifted. She was ready. Ready to embrace her journey, to intertwine her life with those around her, and to leap forward with a heart wide open, guided not just by the whispers of the past, but by the bright potential of love, both for herself and with someone who saw her true self. With each shared story, each laugh, she felt buoyed by a renewed sense of belonging and connection. This was it. She was ready to rewrite her story, enveloped in a circle of warmth that promised support and understanding, eager to walk forward into a future filled with possibility. As the fire burned low and the stars twinkled brightly above, Sarah whispered to herself, no longer hesitating, I am ready for love. I am ready for me. And as clarity washed over her, she affirmed to the universe, let us do this. If this journey has touched your heart, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now. It fuels our passion. Comment your feelings about this ending, and what love means to you. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let's spread the love.